They call me Squirrel.
What's going on, Squirrel Squad? It is your boy, the Squirrel, and today I'm back with what happened to Jim Dale. I mean, if I'm going to be totally honest, I don't know who Jim Dale is. My friend Cyrus sent this over to me. Cyrus has been around, hanging around the channel since I had like 400 or 500 subs. This guy's been around forever. Appreciate the hell out of you, man. Thank you for sending this over. And I believe he said that Jim Dale ended up becoming pretty popular in the United States, which I don't know who he is. But this is supposed to be a kind of a cool little video about what happened to him. So let's learn. I'll learn, and if you already know, then you can enjoy watching me learn. I don't know. Let's get into this. Let's do a little what happened to Jim Dale. I mean, I'm down here in the corner. There we go. Hey, Jim. Jim. I don't know if Jim's with us anymore. Hi, Jim Dale fans. You guys ready? Let's go. Let's just get this. Make sure the volume's up so that we can hear what happened to Jim Dale. The worst thing is going to be trying to figure it out without any volume. So here we go.
Jim Dale was born James Smith on the 15th of August 1935 in Rothwell, Northamptonshire. He grew up nearby and he attended the Kettering Grammar School.
Say that, we had a little mouse in here yesterday and she wanted mouse organs. The little mouse said, I know who that was harmonica.
I'd adored all the comedians in musical, loved the comedy, but on stage as a 9-year-old, the only thing I could do was just tap dance and sing.
I said, if the Germans capture me, they're entitled to shoot me.
During these years, he performed in many amateur shows and started to use comedy into his act.
My parents were the type who say, right, it's your life, and we'll help you every bit we can, and if you have a passion this early, let's push you.
Jim would leave school. He would be talent spotted by Carol Levis, and he would soon become the youngest professional comedian in Great Britain.
Wow.
Touring all the famous variety halls.
People from almost every walk of life who may be the stars of tomorrow.
I tell you something, the British have the greatest sense of humour in the world.
In 1953, he would do his national service.
So I really was 17, coming up for just under 18 when I was grabbed to do the last national service. And I thought, oh God, they're stopping this in 3 or 4 weeks. I've got to give up 2 years. I've just got so far in the business and opportunities are opening up. But they kept me there to do the camp shows.
Jim would leave the RAF and go back to the comedy circuit. He would change his name and he would make his first TV and film appearance.
There wouldn't be much use to him with holes in, though, would they, Sergeant? Stop trying to be funny.
He would also meet and marry Patricia Gardner and welcome a baby girl. In 1957, he would give up the comedy act to become a pop star.
You go from comedy to pop star. I mean, listen, I've always said that back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, we had much more talented people than we have nowadays. Nowadays, you're lucky if someone's singing without fucking auto-tune on or something. Pardon my French. I don't know why I say French. It's just an expression over here. But anyways, like everyone, like nobody can, not nobody. A lot of people can really sing really good. But a lot of people just, it's just garbage, and, it's tough. You don't find people that do music, comedy, stage, movies, TV. They do it all, Back in the day, you had that, over here, I think of guys like Sammy Davis, Bing Crosby, Danny Kaye, Frank Sinatra. These people were multi-talented, multifaceted. Apparently Jim Dale as well, It's pretty cool.
I was doing comedy when I accidentally became a pop singer. I didn't want to become a pop singer. Somebody said, we'll put you on the show, cut the gags out.
I gotta go to Piccadilly, gotta Piccadilly of the day to do it on. I'll get a room on the...
When I was a kid, my grandma used to bring me this place called the Piccadilly Pub. It was good.
Buckingham Beach, I go to King's Road, pick me up a nice, real sweet girl.
Jim was signed by George Martin, who went on to produce the Beatles.
I had my own sort of rock star in Jim Dale, who was then a sort of counter to Tommy Steele and Cliff Richard.
Over the next 2 years, Jim would have a top 10 hit and 4 top 30 songs.
One day, my wife was holding the baby, in the basement of our little apartment, and there was a ring on the doorbell, and she opened the door, and a big foot smashed the door, and the door hit her and the baby and slammed them up against the wall, and the baby hit her head, and it was a photographer taking photographs. And then the next day in the newspapers it said thousands of teenagers will smash their records of pop singer Jim Dale's Be My Girl when they find out that not only is he married, but he has a daughter. And I thought, I don't need this.
Wow.
I really don't.
How screwy is that, huh? I mean, man, I mean, I know it's a job, but so far in my 49 years on this planet, no one's ever given me one good thing about a paparazzi. They're all scum.
Need this. And that's roughly about the time when I said, I'm going back to comedy.
Jim would go back to his comedy act and tour all the UK theatres.
In those early days in the theatre, I was on the bill regularly with a wonderfully talented actor called Ken Dodd. But I had Ken standing in the wings almost every night watching me. And every time I came off, he'd invite me to his #1 dressing room and give me a few tips.
I mean, you can tell a joke in Manchester and they don't get it in London. Really? They can't hear it.
Really wonderful effort to do something, and if there's something that you have that you can contribute, then let them know.
In the next few years, Jim would have small parts in a few films, but it was in 1963 he would appear in his first Carry On film. In the following years, he would become one of the film series' most memorable regulars.
Don't you worry about young lightning legs here. He'll be all right once we get started. Oh, take your bag. Thank you. Good evening. I should give you a minute.
But what's that square opening in the middle for?
Oh, it's just an idea I had for letting in more light. I thought I'd call it a window. Window.
Just hold it right there.
I hope that's your gun, Marshal. Don't you feel it, that certain something between us?
Yes, it's my hot water bottle.
We wasted so much film just breaking up in front of camera.
And there is a brown one, of course.
I think I did about 12, 13 out of the 50 or 60 they did.
What did you take her out there for?
Well, I don't know. We just sort of felt like it.
Felt like it. Felt like what? I wouldn't like to say, Sergeant. I'm asking him.
You'll enjoy the healthy outdoor activity.
We had some casserole dishes just like that at home, sir.
We used to put our dumplings in them.
They use them for the same reason here. Excuse me, my dear. May I cut in?
Of course, Rodney, darling.
Thank you, my dear. Act naturally.
I think the sadness in any person's life comes out later when they've gone. But yes, there are many of the old Carry On team did have sad lives behind the makeup, but we didn't really involve each other in our own problems because we were a great team. It was a fantastic team in those days because everybody gave.
Throughout the series, Jim would do all his own stunts, and this would lead to muscle and back problems later in life. Carry On Again, Doctor would be Jim's last Carry On film, and he would be invited by Laurence Olivier to join the National Theatre.
I mean, I'm sorry that it screwed up his back, and that was pretty damn funny, though.
Well, I was doing about 4 plays in a week at the National Theatre, and I really couldn't squash in a Carry On film during the day.
By the late 1960s, Jim would have 4 children. He would also co-write the Seekers song, Georgia Girl, earning him an Academy Award nomination.
3 pound Springfield Jim Dale for Gregory Girl. Georgia Girl.
In 1973, he appeared in the role of a young Spike Milligan in the film adaptation of Milligan's autobiography. Dale was nominated for a BAFTA award for his performance.
You do know that you're 3 months late in arriving.
Oh, I'll make up for it, sir. I'll fight nights as well.
Silence! Why is he still in civilian clothes?
They wouldn't let me on the train naked.
Silence! I mean, Milligan, why aren't you in uniform?
Because I'm not at war with anybody, sir.
He also nearly won the role of Doctor Who after John Pertwee, but was closely...
think that was the guy who was Doctor Who when I was a kid. When I was a kid on Channel 2, I don't know what the heck, it was like it came in crystal clear. It was like the best channel. It didn't matter. Like you could put a rubber sock on the back of your TV, and Channel 2 came in crystal clear. It was the only channel that came in like perfect. That and Channel 27, which was on the UHF side, but that was a Spanish channel, and I didn't understand it. But Channel 2 came in great. It was out of Boston. It was like the educational channel or whatever. But Doctor Who was on there on Sunday nights at 7 p.m. I only watched it a couple times. I really couldn't get into it because I didn't really know what was going on. You try to pick it up and you're like 13 years old. Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't a big thing over here, and I just remember it being on. So, but I think this was the guy, though. I'm pretty sure that was him. I think he was Doctor Who then.
Beaten by Tom Baker.
No, it was him. It was him. It was Tom Baker. What year was Tom Baker Doctor Who? What year was Tom Baker Doctor Who?
Tom Baker first played Doctor Who in 1974.
Right, I was born in 75, and I was a teenager, so I bet you he was Doctor Who for a while, because that's the guy I'm positive now.
Jim would make his mark on the West End stage. He would also make his Broadway debut in the smash hit Scapino, which would earn him a Tony Award nomination. He would also continue to star in films.
Jim! Hey! You've got it!
Yes.
Biggest dog in the world.
Well, it's the anti-thing, for what it's worth.
Put your foot on there. Now don't move, stay tense, or that weight will fall, that clamp will break your jaw, tear your gums apart and go clean through your cheek. Tense, tense.
I've seen some movies with people wearing those things, but I want these kind of movies.
It would appear it's suddenly wasting away.
Stop the burning!
By the late 1970s, Jim's work would dry up, and he would go to America to find employment. This solved one problem, but created another. In 1977, Jim and his wife would divorce. In 1980, Jim would star in the Broadway musical Barnum.
Join the circus like you wanted to when you were a kid.
He would also win a Tony Award.
And the winner
No surprise.
is Jim Dale in Barnum.
This guy's won every kind of award. This is awesome. This guy's amazing. Holy shit. Really amazing.
I can't explain how I felt that when we first opened on Broadway and had the audience reacted in a way that I'd never seen an audience react before. They just stood up and they wouldn't leave the theatre.
During the early 1980s, Jim would permanently move to New York, to Midtown Manhattan, and he would marry Julie Scheffler.
You go over there to do a show and they ask you to stay, and then they offer you a big Broadway musical, and you think, well, maybe I'll be here for a week, or maybe a month, maybe a year. That was another good reason to stay. Always live where your wife is.
In the mid-1980s, Jim would appear in the
I mean, if you'd lived where your wife was in the first place, you'd still be married to the same woman. Nah, never mind.
Episode of the American thriller, The Equalizer.
Well, I beg your pardon, sir. I do have a business I'm trying very hard to maintain. If you'll excuse me.
Are you afraid to be a real father?
Get out of my gallery.
He would return to Broadway to star in the smash hit musical Me and My Girl. In 1992, Jim would appear in the Carry On reboot, Carry On Columbus.
Christopher Columbus, at your service. I'm told you're an Italian.
Oh, indeed I am, sir.
I know that.
In 1995, he would return to the West End to star in Oliver. Later that year, Jim's daughter Belinda would sadly pass away of leukemia at the age of 38. From 2001, Jim would voice the Harry Potter audiobooks for the American audience.
J.K. Rowling knew my work in England from a series of films, and she trusted me to come up with the right...
I've got goosebumps. I listened to a couple of these. I've read all the books. I thought the Harry Potter series was really well written. I really enjoyed it. And it's funny because my buddy was dating a girl, and she was reading the Harry Potter series. I think at the time there was only 3 books out, and I was making fun of her, like, you're reading kids' books, like, you know. And then she bought me the first book for Christmas, and she was like, do what you want. All I ask is that you read the first 10 pages. Then you can burn it, you can throw it away, you can give it away, you can return it to the store, you can do whatever you want. And of course, I couldn't put the book down and went and bought the second and third and caught right up to everybody. So crazy. Anyways, but I did listen to a couple audiobooks later on. And that's crazy. He was, wow. That's crazy.
Like voices for the characters.
Professor Dumbledore offered Dobby 10 galleons a week.
Oh, very clever. Very amusing.
If there was a wizard of whom I would believe that they did not seek personal gain.
Yes, it would have been lovely to have been part of the Harry Potter films, but don't forget, I've been lucky enough to be the only one doing 240 voices for the audiobooks.
He would win 2 Grammys and also receive an MBE. Later in the decade, he would narrate the Emmy award-winning comedy drama Pushing Daisies.
This is Ned, a man with the ability to bring things back to life. His story began in the town of Coeur de Coeur.
My brother is Mick Smith, his name is, and he is one of the joys of my life.
Mick would create a permanent exhibition in Jim's hometown, artifacts and exhibits from Jim's life.
Bless his heart, I went over to see this exhibition, and it's wonderful. I cannot explain. He's taken up the whole second floor of a huge building. I'm almost in tears talking about him because I love him so much.
Today, Jim spends a lot of his time at his country home in upstate New York. He continues to work, mainly doing voice acting and narration for video games and books.
Video games.
Succeed, or you can fail. There's only 2. And if you fail, you just get up, brush yourself down, and start all over again, as they say. Come to the edge. It's too high. Come to the edge. We might fall. Come to the edge. And they came, and he pushed them, and they flew. And so I've taken every job, every opportunity of challenging myself to create something different. It's helped me so much.
That's the end. That's where it ends, right there. Wow. Jim Dale, what an amazing, incredible character this guy was, and performer, and all in all facets. I want to Google him real quick. Let's see, is he still with us? Still with us. He's 88 years old. God bless him. Wow, that's awesome. I mean, I know he narrated Harry Potter not long ago, but wow, that's awesome. So Jim Dale, man. Wow, I got goosebumps thinking about it. He's still with us. He's still... What an amazing, wow. 1935. Wow, I'd be 89 this year. That's crazy. When's his birthday? It says he's 88. When's his birthday? August 15th, he'll be 89. Wow, that's crazy. Well, Cyrus, thanks for sending this over. This guy was really, really interesting. I gotta look into this Carry On thing now, I guess, and just see what it's about. But amazing. I mean, it's always sad when you see people, you know, when they try to do something better for their family and ends up wrecking the family. That sucks. But I mean, comedian, you know, served his country, singer, writer, composer, narrator, stage actor, film actor, TV actor. What the hell has this guy not done? Jim Dale. Wow. Man, upstate New York's not far from me. Maybe I'll just go find out what town he lives in and sit at the local coffee shop. Wait till he walks in someday. My luck, I'll sit there for 3 years and he doesn't drink coffee. Yeah, what do I know? Cyrus, thanks, brother. Appreciate it, man. That was very nice. I enjoyed this. I'll catch up with you guys soon. All right, be good. Whee! Oh, the pen goes anywhere it wants to these days. Oh, by the way, enjoy the new closing music. Thanks, Phil Jones. Squirrel out.
Hey, look, squirrel, that's what they call me. Proud American with roots in the UK. Can't you see? I love a good laugh